All right, let's dive in. Today, we've got an incredible story about how one single, really elegant coding idea can take a chaotic startup and turn it into a global empire. And believe me, this isn't just about code. It's about building something that's designed to grow, to adapt, and to conquer the world, one pizza at a time.
But I mean, really, how is that even possible? How can one abstract software principle become the foundation for a huge, real-world business? Well, to answer that, we need to meet our hero, an entrepreneur named Maya, and really get into the delicious but very messy problems she was facing.
So, meet Maya. Her dream was awesome and, on the surface, pretty simple. Open the best pizza shop in town. And she did it. Her online ordering system was a huge hit. But here's the thing about success. It gets complicated. As her business grew, so did the chaos. Every time a customer wanted a new kind of pizza, she had to dive back into her code, making it more and more of a tangled mess.
And this right here, this was Maya's coding nightmare. At the very heart of her system was this giant, ugly chain of if-else statements. You want to add a Hawaiian pizza? You got to go in and change the core logic. A meat lovers? Yep, change it again. The whole system was fragile, it was messy, and it was completely, totally unsustainable. And then came the real test, expansion. Maya wanted to open new shops in different cities, but every city has its own pizza vibe, right? New York wants that classic thin crust. Chicago, of course, demands deep dish. And California, you guessed it, organic, gluten-free, everything. Her simple if-else logic was about to completely explode. So just when Maya was at her wit's end, her friend Raj, who happens to be a computer science genius, shows up. He takes one look at her code and says, "Maya, you need the factory method pattern." And that was the advice that changed absolutely everything. Okay, so what is this magical pattern? Think of it like a master blueprint for making stuff. The main blueprint, that's the superclass. It knows it needs to create a pizza. It knows the general steps. But it doesn't know the exact kind of pizza. So it delegates that specific decision down to the individual pizza shops, the subclasses. So together, they came up with this abstract pizza store blueprint. Now, the standard process, prepare, bake, cut, box, that was defined just once, and it would never have to change. But the create pizza method, that was the real magic. It was basically a rule that said, hey, every new store that opens must define how it's going to make its own local pizzas. And just like that, her New York store could create a perfect New York-style margarita. Her Chicago store could make an authentic deep dish. And it could all happen without ever touching the core ordering logic. Each new location was now its own self-contained factory, totally in charge of its own special recipes. With this incredibly flexible new structure, Maya's business didn't just grow, it exploded. She could open stores anywhere, create unique local menus super easily, and turn her one little shop into this sprawling franchise. But, with big growth comes big scrutiny. A consultant, this guy, Mr. Peterson, started questioning her approach. He argued for something called a simple factory, one single central place to create all the pizzas. It looked easier on the surface, but Maya knew better. She had learned a pretty tough lesson about that. So Maya challenged him. She said, okay, let's pretend we're opening a new store in Texas. With the consultant's so-called simple approach, they would have to go in and modify that central factory code, which was the exact same problem she had in the first place. But with her factory method, she could just add a brand new Texas pizza store without touching a single line of old stable code. It was basically checkmate. And the results really speak for themselves. This scalable, super adaptable system was the foundation that let Maya's pizza business expand into 15 different countries. It literally transformed her local shop into a global empire. Now, this whole pizza story is a fantastic way to understand this. But let's be real, this pattern is so much bigger than just pizza. It's a fundamental concept that quietly powers a huge amount of the digital world you and I interact with every single day. Now, seriously, think about it. You're playing a video game. A character factory is spitting out warriors or mages, and the main game engine doesn't need to know the details. You're connecting to a database. A connection factory is handling whether it's MySQL or MongoDB behind the scenes. User interface frameworks, payment processors, they all use this exact same principle of letting a subclass decide the specific thing to create. It's everywhere. Fast forward a couple of years, and Maya's success has made her this huge voice in building scalable systems. She takes a stage at a major tech conference to share the wisdom she learned on her journey, and she presents what she calls her master framework.
And she just laid it all out, crystal clear. That consultant's simple factory? Yeah, it's great for small apps or little prototypes where things probably won't change much. But for applications that are going to grow, for frameworks that other people are going to build on, the factory method is king. Its number one benefit is that flexibility, preventing you from having to rewrite your core logic every single time you add something new.
And this was her final, most powerful insight. The choice of a design pattern isn't just a technical decision, it's a business strategy. The factory method didn't just solve a coding problem, it enabled a business that was built from day one to evolve. And that really leaves us with a critical question to think about in our own work. When we make a choice because it seems simpler right now, are we accidentally creating a massive, complex problem for our future selves? As Maya's story shows us, sometimes the most robust, most forward-thinking solution is actually the simplest one in the long run.